The first time the Eloran people saw humans, they felt both curious and scared. The Elorans were a peaceful species with blue skin, large eyes, and slim bodies. They had never met creatures like humans before. Captain Ethan Powell led the human team from the spaceship UES Pathfinder. He was tall with short brown hair and a friendly smile that showed too many teeth to the Elorans. His 5-person crew stood behind him as they stepped onto the Eloran landing pad. "Welcome to Elora," said Vril, the Eloran ambassador. He blinked his large eyes rapidly, a sign of nervous excitement. "We are happy to meet your kind for the first time." Ethan extended his hand, and Vril hesitated before touching it briefly. The Eloran pulled back quickly, surprised by the warmth of human skin. "Thank you for welcoming us," Ethan said. "We bring greetings from Earth and hope to learn from each other." The Elorans led the humans to a large crystal building where other Eloran officials waited. The humans looked strong and sturdy compared to the delicate Elorans. When Sergeant Olivia Martinez accidentally bumped into a table, breaking its edge, the Elorans gasped. She quickly apologized, but the damage was done. The Elorans now understood how physically powerful humans were. During the meeting, Dr. Leah Bennett, the team's scientist, explained human biology. The Elorans were shocked. "You continue to function after losing blood?" one Eloran scientist asked. "Yes, our bodies can handle quite a bit of damage," Lee explained. "And you intentionally consume substances that cause pain?" another asked, referring to spicy food mentioned in Leah's presentation. "Some of us enjoy the sensation," Ethan said with a smile. The Elorans whispered among themselves. These humans were strange and somewhat frightening. At night, Ethan and his team stayed in special rooms designed for them. Olivia approached her captain as he looked out the window at the 3 moons of Elora. "They think we're monsters," she said quietly. Ethan nodded. "They're afraid of us. Their species never evolved to fight or endure pain like we did. Will that be a problem for the Alliance? I hope not. We need friends out here." The next day brought more cultural exchanges. The humans showed amazing endurance during a walking tour of the Eloran capital city. While the Elorans needed rest every few hours, the humans continued without complaint. When Ethan cut his hand on a crystal sculpture and simply wrapped it with a cloth before continuing, the Elorans watched with a mixture of horror and fascination. Vril approached Ethan privately after the tour. "Your people are very resilient," he said carefully. "Is that concerning to you?" Ethan asked. "It is different," Vril admitted. "In our history, the strong species have always been the most dangerous. Strength doesn't have to be used for harm," Ethan said. "Sometimes it can protect." Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent message. An Eloran scientist rushed into the room, his blue skin pale with fear. "Ambassador Vril, unknown ships have entered our system. They do not respond to communication." The room's display screen activated, showing multiple triangular ships moving toward Elora. Their design was aggressive, with sharp edges and visible weapons. "Those aren't human ships," Ethan said immediately, his body tensing. "No," Vril whispered. "Those are Krell vessels. They have conquered many worlds. We have heard stories." Ethan touched the communication device on his wrist. "All human personnel, report to the embassy immediately. Potential hostile situation." As the Elorans panicked around him, Ethan's expression changed from diplomatic to determined. He put a hand on Vril's shoulder, who flinched at the contact. "Don't worry," Ethan said calmly. "We're here now." Fear flickered across Vril's face, but suddenly he wasn't sure if he should fear the approaching Krell ships or the calm, ready-for-battle humans standing in his city. The Krell ships entered Eloran atmosphere 3 hours later. By then, Captain Ethan Powell had gathered his 8-person team in the human embassy. Sergeant Olivia Martinez checked their weapons, while Lieutenant Daniel Garcia tried to contact the UES Pathfinder in orbit. "No response from our ship," Daniel said, his face grim. "The Krell might have destroyed it already." Outside, the sky filled with triangle-shaped vessels. The Ellerin city had no real defenses. Their society had never needed them. Ambassador Vril rushed into the embassy, his blue skin pale with fear. "Captain Powell, the Krell have landed troops in the city center. They are taking our people." Ethan nodded calmly. "We need to move. This building will be a target." "But where can we go?" Vril asked, his large eyes blinking rapidly. "Somewhere we can fight back," Olivia said as she handed Ethan a laser rifle. The Elorans gasped. The idea of fighting seemed foreign to them. Loud explosions shook the building. Through the windows, they saw smoke rising from the city center. "Listen carefully," Ethan told the 20 Elorans who had gathered in the embassy. "The Krell are hunters. They expect you to run or surrender. We're going to do something they won't expect." The humans quickly made a plan. Daniel would lead most of the Elorans through underground tunnels to the forest outside the city. Ethan, Olivia, and 2 other human Marines would create a distraction. As Daniel led the Elorans away, Ethan's team moved toward the sounds of destruction. They found the Krell in the main square. The aliens were tall with gray skin and 4 arms. They carried energy weapons and were herding Elorans into transport ships. "On my mark," Ethan whispered. The 4 humans attacked from different directions. Their laser rifles cut through the Krell armor. Olivia threw small explosives that confused and scattered the invaders. The Krell, surprised by the resistance, fired back wildly. A blast hit the building near Ethan, showering him with debris. Blood ran down his face, but he kept fighting. The Elorans who witnessed this were shocked. The humans moved with speed and purpose. They ignored injuries. They showed no fear. After 10 minutes of fighting, Ethan signaled retreat. The humans disappeared into side streets as more Krell ships arrived. Later, deep in the Elloran forest, Ethan's team reunited with Daniel and the Elorans they had saved. Vril watched in disbelief as Olivia treated a burn on her arm without complaint. "You attacked the Krell directly," Vril said. "No species does this. The Krell are too powerful." "Humans don't give up easily," Ethan said as Dr. Leah Bennett cleaned the cut on his head. "And we don't abandon allies." Ethan showed Vril a small device. "Before we left, I sent an emergency message to Earth. I don't know if it got through, but if it did, more humans will come." That night, they set up a camp. The Elorans huddled together, frightened by the strange forest sounds. They watched as the humans took turns keeping watch, seemingly comfortable in the wild. One young Elloran approached Olivia as she cleaned her weapon. "Why do you know how to fight?" the young Elloran asked. "Did your people not evolve past violence?" Olivia looked at the innocent face before her. "We evolved with violence as a tool for survival. Sometimes that's necessary in a dangerous universe. The Krell have conquered 12 worlds," the young Elloran said quietly. "No one has ever stopped them." Olivia checked her weapon and smiled slightly. They haven't met humans before. In the distance, the Elloran city burned. Krell ships patrolled the sky. The situation seemed hopeless. But the humans were already planning their next move. They gathered maps from the Elorans and discussed tactics. Their eyes showed determination, not defeat. Vril watched them with a mixture of fear and hope. These humans were unlike any species he had ever known. They were terrifying in their resilience. But right now, that terrifying strength might be the only thing that could save his world. 3 weeks passed. The small camp in the forest had grown. More Elorans escaped the city each day and found their way to what they now called Safe Haven. Captain Ethan Powell and his team had built a resistance from nothing. Ethan stood on a hill overlooking the Elloran city in the distance. Krell ships moved in and out constantly. Sergeant Olivia Martinez joined him, her uniform torn and dirty. "The new Elorans say the Krell have set up processing centers," she said. "They're shipping people off-world." Ethan nodded. "Slave labor, probably. That's what all the reports said about the Krell." "Our food supplies are running low," Olivia continued. "And we're almost out of power cells for the weapons. Despite these problems, Ethan looked calm. In 3 weeks, he had not shown fear once. The Elorans noticed this. They watched the humans with wonder. Back at the camp, Lieutenant Daniel Garcia was teaching a group of Elorans how to set traps. The blue-skinned aliens struggled with the concept. "But this will hurt the Krell," one Eloran said, confused. "That's the point," Daniel explained patiently. "They hurt your people. Sometimes you must fight back." Nearby, Dr. Leah Bennett worked with Eloran plants to make medicines. She had not slept in 2 days, but kept working. An Eloran healer watched her with concern. "You must rest," the healer said. "Your body will fail." Leah smiled tiredly. "Humans can go much longer without sleep when necessary. I'll rest when everyone has medicine." That night, Vril sat with Ethan by the fire. Around them, humans and Elorans ate a simple meal of forest plants and small animals the humans had caught. "Your people amaze me," Vril said quietly. "You have gone 5 days with almost no food so the children could eat. Sergeant Martinez fights with a wounded leg. Dr. Bennett works without sleep. How is this possible?" Ethan looked into the fire. "Humans are survivors. Our planet was not gentle. We evolved to endure." "It is frightening," Vril admitted. "I know," Ethan said, "but right now, that's what you need." Their conversation stopped when a lookout ran into camp. "Krell patrols," the Eloran shouted, many of them coming this way. Everyone moved quickly. The humans had trained for this. The Elorans hid the children and elderly in underground shelters they had dug. Those who could fight took positions. Olivia checked her makeshift weapon. After weeks of fighting, they now used Krell weapons they had captured. "They found us," she said to Ethan. "No," he replied. "This is a regular patrol. If they had found us, they would have sent ships." Through the trees, they saw the Krell patrol. 20 soldiers led by a larger Krell with red markings on his armor. "That's Vexicle," whispered an Eloran who had escaped the city recently. "He's their commander. He's been looking for humans specifically. He seems obsessed with finding you." Ethan watched the tall, 4-armed alien through his scope. Then let's not disappoint him. The humans had set traps throughout the forest. Ethan gave a signal, and the first trap activated. A net made of strong vines caught 3 Krell soldiers. Before the others could react, explosives made from Eloran crystals and Krell energy cells detonated. The Krell scattered in confusion. They were used to fighting in open spaces with superior weapons. The forest and traps confused them. The humans and brave Elorans attacked from different directions. They used the trees for cover. They moved constantly. The Krell couldn't predict their movements. Vexicle roared orders to his soldiers, but he seemed frustrated by the chaos. When a human appeared in front of him, then quickly disappeared into the bushes, the Krell commander fired wildly into the forest. From her position, Olivia saw her chance. She aimed carefully and shot Vexicle in the shoulder. The Krell commander howled in pain and retreated with his remaining soldiers. After the battle, the resistance counted their victories. 5 Krell weapons captured, no resistance fighters lost. But Vril looked worried as he helped treat the wounded. "Vexicle will return with more soldiers," he said. "Yes," Ethan agreed. "But now he fears us, and fear makes enemies make mistakes." Admiral Kate Donovan stood on the bridge of the UES Defender, looking at the display of Eloran space. 4 other human ships floated nearby. They had traveled faster than any human fleet before, pushing their engines to the limit. "Status report," she ordered. "Krell fleet detected. 12 warships in orbit around Elora," responded her second-in-command. Kate nodded. The humans were outnumbered, but they had surprise on their side. The Krell didn't know they were coming. "All ships, prepare for combat," she said. "Remember, we have people on that planet." On Elora's surface, Ethan Powell looked up at the night sky. Something was different. The Krell ships were moving. "Daniel," he called, "check the communications equipment. Something's happening." Lieutenant Daniel Garcia rushed to their makeshift radio, built from parts of their crashed shuttle and Krell technology. Suddenly, his eyes widened. "Captain, human signals. Our fleet is here." The news spread through the camp. The Elorans began to hope for the first time in weeks. Ethan gathered his team. "This is our chance," he said. "While the Krell are distracted by our fleet, we need to take the communication hub in the city. If we can contact Admiral Donovan, we can coordinate our attacks." The plan was dangerous. The communication hub was in the center of the city, heavily guarded by Krell soldiers. But it was their best chance. Ethan selected a small team: himself, Olivia, Daniel, and 3 Elorans who had proved their courage in previous fights. They moved under cover of darkness toward the city. In space, the battle had begun. Admiral Donovan's ships were faster than the Krell vessels. They darted between the larger enemy ships, firing precisely at weak points. "Their shields are strong," reported a weapons officer. "Keep firing at the same spots," Kate ordered. "Human weapons fire differently than what they're used to. Their shields won't hold." She was right. The Krell shields were designed to block energy weapons that other species used. Human weapons used physical projectiles as well as energy. This combination confused the Krell defense systems. On the planet, Ethan's team reached the edge of the city. The streets were mostly empty. Krell soldiers had been called to defensive positions because of the space battle. "This way," whispered one of the Eloran guides, pointing to a narrow alley. They moved silently through the city, avoiding the few Krell patrols. When they couldn't avoid a patrol, Olivia and Ethan took them down quickly and quietly. Finally, they reached the communication hub. 6 Krell guards stood outside. "We need a distraction," Ethan said. Daniel smiled and held up a small device he had made from Krell parts. "I have just the thing." He activated the device and threw it down the street. It created a series of loud explosions and flashing lights. The Krell guards ran toward the noise, leaving only 2 at the door. Ethan and Olivia took them down quickly. Inside, they found the main control room with 3 Krell technicians. The fight was short. Within minutes, the hub was theirs. Daniel rushed to the controls. "These are similar to the ones we captured before. I can work with this." He worked quickly, connecting their human communicator to the Eloran system. After several tense minutes, a voice came through. "This is Admiral Donovan of the UES Defender. Identify yourself." "Admiral, this is Captain Powell. We've secured the communication hub in the Eloran capital." Kate's voice was relieved. "Good to hear you're alive, Captain. We're engaging the Krell fleet now, but we're outnumbered." "We can help," Ethan said. "From here, we can access Krell ship systems. Their fleet and ground forces use the same network." Daniel was already working on the Krell computers. "I can disrupt their targeting systems, maybe even their engines." "Do it," Kate ordered. "We'll press our attack." Outside, they heard Krell vehicles approaching. Olivia looked out the window. "Company's coming, Captain. Lots of them." Ethan checked his weapon. "Hold this position as long as possible. The longer we control this hub, the better chance our fleet has." The Elorans looked nervous but determined. They had learned much from the humans in these weeks. Now it was time to use those lessons. Vexicle stood in his command center, his 4 arms tightly clenched. The screens around him showed the battle in space and the situation at the communication hub. Nothing was going as planned. How can their ships move so fast? He demanded. Their technology should be inferior to ours. A Krell scientist nervously approached. "Commander, we have studied the human ship that we destroyed when we arrived. Their engines are simple, but they push them beyond safe limits. No sensible species would risk such dangerous power levels." Vexicle hissed. "And the ground forces. Tell me about these humans." Another Krell stepped forward with a datapad. "We have collected combat footage. The humans fight like no other species. They continue even when injured. They use deception. They adapt to our weapons and tactics quickly. Vexkull watched a recording of a human female, the one called Martins, fighting 3 Krell soldiers. She was bleeding from a wound in her side, but she moved with incredible speed and determination. The recording ended with all 3 Krell defeated. "This is not natural," Vexkull said quietly. "All species we have conquered follow patterns. They act logically. These humans, they act against their own self-interest. They risk death unnecessarily." He turned to his officers. "Send all available forces to the communication hub. Kill every human there." In the communication hub, Daniel worked frantically at the controls while Ethan, Olivia, and the others defended the entrances. The sounds of Krell weapons grew closer. "How much longer?" Ethan asked. "Almost there," Daniel replied. "Their system is complex, but I found a weakness. They never expected anyone to access it from inside." Olivia fired at Krell soldiers entering the street below. "Whatever you're doing, do it faster. We have a lot of company." Daniel's fingers moved quickly over the alien controls. "Done. I've sent false targeting data to their ships and shut down communication between their ground and space forces." In space, Admiral Donovan saw the results immediately. The Krell ships began firing at empty space, missing the human vessels completely. "Now's our chance," she said. "All ships, focus fire on their flagship." The 5 human ships concentrated their attack on the largest Krell vessel. Without proper targeting, the Krell ship couldn't defend itself. Within minutes, it exploded in a ball of fire. The other Krell ships fell into disarray. Some tried to retreat, while others continued fighting without coordination. Back at the communication hub, Ethan received word of the success in space. "Admiral Donovan says reinforcements are on the way," he told his team. 2 more human fleets will arrive within days. We just need to hold out until then." But holding out would not be easy. The streets around the hub filled with Krell soldiers. Heavy vehicles approached from multiple directions. "We can't stay here," Olivia said. "They'll overwhelm us soon." Ethan looked at the Eloran team members. They had fought bravely, but they were exhausted. Elorans simply didn't have human endurance. "New plan," he announced. "Daniel, can you set this system to continue disrupting their communications even after we leave?" Daniel nodded. "Yes, I can create a loop in their program. It will take them hours to fix it." "Good. We're going to split up. Smaller groups have a better chance of escaping." The team quickly divided the remaining weapons and supplies. Ethan gave each group a different route back to the forest camp. As they prepared to leave, one of the Elorans approached Ethan. "Why do you keep fighting?" "The Krell outnumber us. Most species would surrender." Ethan checked his weapon calmly. "Humans don't give up easily. We've faced bad odds before." "Is this why your kind survived on your planet?" "This stubbornness." Ethan smiled slightly. "Partly. We're also very good at working together when things look worst." Outside, the first Krell assault team reached the building. Explosions shook the walls. It was time to go. "Remember," Ethan told everyone, "move fast, stay hidden, and meet back at camp. This isn't over." The Elorans nodded, their eyes showing a new determination. They had learned much from these terrifying humans. The sky above Elora filled with light as more human ships arrived. General Alan Summers stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, the largest human warship ever built. Next to him, Admiral Kate Donovan watched the displays with relief. "Your timing is perfect, General," she said. 5 more days, and we might have lost this position." Alan nodded. 20 ships, fully armed and ready. The President sent everything we could spare. He looked at the planet below. "How's the ground situation?" "Captain Powell and his team are organizing the resistance. They've been performing small miracles down there." In the forest camp, those small miracles continued. After escaping the communication hub, Ethan's team had returned to find the camp buzzing with activity. More Elorans arrived daily, many bringing stolen Krell weapons or supplies. Dr. Leah Bennett worked with Ellerin scientists in a makeshift lab. They had captured Krell environmental suits and were studying them. Their breathing apparatus is their weakness, Leah explained to Ethan. The Krell need different air than what Elora provides. If we can disrupt their air supply. Ethan nodded. Keep working on it. We need every advantage. Olivia approached with Vril and several Ellerin fighters. Over the weeks, the peaceful aliens had changed. They stood straighter. Their eyes showed determination. We've mapped all Krell processing centers, Olivia reported. The main one holds over 3,000 Ellorins. Ethan studied the rough map. That's our target. When our fleet secures orbital control, we strike there. The radio crackled. Captain Powell, this is General Summers of the UES Defiance. Do you copy? Ethan grabbed the radio. General, good to hear a new voice. What's your status? We've engaged the Krell fleet. They're falling back. Admiral Donovan tells me you need ground support. Yes, sir. We're planning to hit the main processing center. There are thousands of Ellerin prisoners there. Understood. I'm sending down drop ships with Marines and supplies. They'll land 5 miles from your position in 2 hours. Can you meet them? Ethan looked at his team. Everyone nodded. We'll be there, sir. 2 hours later, Ethan, Olivia, and a small team watched as 3 human dropships landed in a clearing. The ship's doors opened, and Marines in full combat gear rushed out, securing the area. A tall woman with short gray hair approached. Captain Powell. Colonel Susan Ward, 2nd Marine Division. We brought some friends and toys for this party. Behind her, more Marines unloaded weapons, medical supplies, and communication equipment. The Ellorins watched in awe. That night, humans and Ellorins planned their attack. Colonel Ward spread detailed maps across a table. The Krell fleet is retreating. Only ground forces remain. Our scans show most of them are concentrated at the processing centers. Ethan pointed to the largest center. That's our primary target. 3,000 prisoners, heavily guarded. Dr. Bennett stepped forward. I have something that might help. She held up small devices. These will disrupt the Krell breathing systems. They won't kill them, but they'll force them to retreat or suffocate. Colonel Ward smiled. Developed that in a forest lab with limited supplies. Impressive, Doctor. At dawn, the combined human Ellerin force moved toward the city. Marine dropships provided air support while ground teams advanced on the processing center. The Krell fought hard. Energy weapons lit up the morning sky. Buildings crumbled under the assault. But the humans pressed forward relentlessly. Olivia led a team that breached the center's outer wall. Inside, they faced heavy resistance. A Krell blast hit the wall near her, showering her with debris. Blood ran down her face, but she kept advancing. The Ellorins fighting alongside her were shocked but inspired. They had seen humans endure pain before, but watching trained human soldiers in battle was different. They never stopped. They never hesitated. In the control room, Vexkull received reports of the attack. His forehands gripped the console tightly. How many humans? He demanded. Hundreds, came the reply. And they've armed the Ellorins. For the first time in his military career, Vexkull felt real fear. These humans fought like nothing he had ever seen. And now they had brought an army. 3 days later, the battle for Elora was over. The Krell ships had fled. Their ground forces surrendered or were destroyed. The processing centers were empty, with all Ellorins freed and returned to their homes. Captain Ethan Powell stood with Vril in the center of the Ellerin capital. Buildings were damaged, but the city still stood. Ellorins moved through the streets, cleaning and rebuilding. I never thought we would see our home again, Vril said quietly. My people believed that once the Krell came, all was lost. That is what happened to every world they attacked before. Every world before didn't have humans as allies, Ethan replied. Across the city, Admiral Kate Donovan and General Alan Summers met with Ellerin leaders in the newly repaired government building. They discussed plans for defense systems and a permanent human presence on Elora. The peaceful species now understood they needed protection in a dangerous universe. At the main hospital, Dr. Leah Bennett worked with Eloran doctors to treat the wounded. She showed them human medical techniques. The Elorans were quick learners. "Your methods are different," one Eloran doctor said. "You focus on saving life at all costs." Leah nodded. "That's the human way. We don't give up easily." Outside the hospital, Sergeant Olivia Martinez sat on a bench, her arm in a sling and bandages on her face. A group of Eloran children gathered around her. At first, they had been afraid of the humans. Now they asked endless questions. "Were you scared when you fought the Krell?" one child asked. Olivia smiled. "Yes. Being brave doesn't mean not feeling fear. It means acting even when you're afraid." "Will the Krell come back?" another asked. "I don't think so," Olivia said. "They learned something important here. They learned that humans protect their friends, no matter the cost." On the far side of the city, in a secure room, Lieutenant Daniel Garcia questioned the captured Krell commander. Vexkal sat stiffly, his forearms bound. "Why did you attack Elora?" Daniel asked. Vexkal's alien eyes narrowed. "The Krell Dominion expands. That is our way. The Elorans were weak, easy prey." He paused. "We did not know about humans. And now that you do, now we will avoid human space." Vexkal looked directly at Daniel. "You are not like other species. You fight beyond reason. You endure pain that would stop others. You are frightening." That evening, a ceremony was held in the central square. Humans and Elorans gathered together. General Summers and the Eloran Prime Minister signed a formal alliance. From this day forward, the Prime Minister announced, "Earth and Elora stand together as friends. When darkness fell upon us, only the humans came to help. We will not forget." Admiral Donovan stepped forward. "This is just the beginning. News of the Krell defeat is spreading. 3 other worlds have already contacted us, seeking similar protection. Humanity is ready to help." After the ceremony, Ethan found Vril watching the stars. "What will you do now, Captain Powell?" the Eloran asked. "Admiral Donovan has offered me command of the new defense force here," Ethan said. "My team, and I will stay, help train your people." Vril was quiet for a moment. "When you first arrived, we thought humans were frightening. Your strength, your resilience, your capacity for violence, these things scared us." "And now?" Ethan asked. "Now we understand. The galaxy needs species like yours. Sometimes the most frightening guardians are the most effective." Vril placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder, no longer fearing the contact. "The Krell thought us weak because we were peaceful. They thought strength only came from conquest." "There are many kinds of strength," Ethan said. "Yes, and many kinds of courage." Vril looked at the rebuilt city around them. But when survival was at stake, only the terrifying humans came to the rescue. In the distance, a new monument was taking shape in the square. It showed a human and an Eloran standing side by side, looking to the stars together. Different species, united in friendship, ready to face whatever the galaxy might bring.